Welcome to the Success Journey Show. Let's travel together through the lives of individuals on the road to success.
Hey, what's going on, travelers? Ricky Ventures here with the Success Journey Show and Marlon Madden. What's going on?
Nothing much, Rick. It's crazy that we have an in-person interview today, and we've been on a little hiatus because we've been doing a lot of crazy stuff and a lot of great stuff. When we say crazy, we mean a lot of great stuff, a lot of different endeavors that we'll share with you. But the show today is going to be awesome.
Yes, man. We're excited to have our special guest here today, Tim Lodins, and he's going to really just share his story, man. We met him a few months ago. The story touched our lives, so we want to share that with the world, man. And after the show, you'll be able to follow him. He's done plenty of podcasts where he's shared his story as well, and you can see him on those things. And he has a couple things coming up, so we're going to jump right into it. All right, stay tuned.
Yes, sir.
Tim, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing good. Staying busy.
Good.
Life happens on life's terms. We just keep moving forward.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Man. Well, we appreciate you coming and
Absolutely.
just sitting and talking with us today.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to possibly reach one more person, because that's why we do this.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
If we can reach one more person, that's one less we lose to this disease.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
So, Tim, man, why don't you just start us off, man? Who is Tim? Right.
Tim right now is a grateful, humbled, recovering alcoholic and drug addict. I will never, ever be recovered. That is one thing that people must understand is it's if, like, say you have diabetes, heart condition, high blood pressure, you take your medicine every day, right? You don't just stop one day because it goes away.
Yeah.
So every day I practice my recovery, my sobriety, and I have to understand that the day that I don't, one day it's going to come back. It's just lying dormant. It will come back full force, stronger than ever. So I have to be vigilant in my recovery, not my sobriety. Sobriety and recovery are two completely different things.
You got to break that down to us.
So sober is you're not picking up the mind alternating chemical substance. You're not working on the person. You're not working on your defects. You're not working on the things on why you first picked up the drugs and the alcohol. The drugs and the alcohol is the Band-Aid over the bullet hole. There are much bigger things going on why you picked up the drugs and the alcohol in the first place. Working the steps of recovery help you to get a deeper look of yourself and why it all started and how it continued to go on. A lot of it's trauma, sexual, mental, physical, heartache, death, loss, identity. That you just really don't want to face in life. So it's easier to pick up and numb and not feel and forget. The longer you do that, those things that you didn't want to face in the first time compound. And it's like, I correlated to that little snowball on top of the mountain. It starts off, you can pick it up in your hand. And if you don't pick it up and crush it, by the time it gets to the bottom of the hill, it's big enough to take out a house. We let it get that big, and it destroys everything along its way. Face what's right in front of you now and deal with it. And that, honestly, that can go way out of mental health or addiction.
That's life, man.
That's life, period, right? We
Yeah.
tend to put things off until we feel like dealing with them.
Yeah.
And then when we feel like dealing with them, well, now there's 4 other things we didn't deal with because we haven't dealt care of the first one. With people with addiction or mental illness, that's kind of like times 10. A lot of self-doubt, self-love. We just don't want to look at ourselves in the mirror, and it's just easier to drink and drug.
Tim, man. So first of all, let everybody know that's my brother right there, right? and you guys are like, he's your brother. That guy's a white guy. You're a black guy. But you don't understand. We're green.
All green. All green.
Because Tim is a Marine. Give us a little bit of your, because everybody's seeing you right now. Because I'll tell you straight up, if I saw you walking down the block or walking in a mall or anywhere, or somebody introduced me to you, right now you can't see Tim because he has his Harley Davidson sweatshirt on, right? But The guy's is yoked, and you do shows too, right?
Yes, I'm doing another one this summer.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'd never walk up to you and just say, "Oh, that guy's a drug addict," because in the neighborhoods or in different parts of America, if you live in the inner city, what we saw as somebody that was on drugs, somebody that was in the street, they're just acting crazy or whatever the situation is, and even when they come back, sometimes you can still see some, like, oh man, that person was.
Right.
You don't have anything, but what we want to do before people see where you were, we want to definitely check out the beginning of your story. So tell us a little bit about yourself before you joined the Marine Corps. What kind of, if we were in class with you in 8th grade, because 8th grade, 9th grade is when you kind of come to your own. 8th grade, 9th grade, what kind of guy would they say Tim would be?
8th grade, I was 13 years old?
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, 12, 13. Yep. 8th grade is when I started boxing. Within that year, I became Golden Glove champion, 145. Wow. By the time I was 14, I got 3rd place in the Junior Olympics, bronze medal. Yeah, so, but before that, I started as a kid when the first traumatic thing happened to me that I believe as I became a drug addict and alcoholic, I used as fuel.
Yeah.
At the age of 6, my mother and father got a divorce. As a 6-year-old boy, I thought it was my fault. I have a brother who's 10 years older than me. Why would my dad stay around for my brother who's a junior in high school, but he leaves me in 1st grade? What was wrong with me? Did he not love me? Was I not a good boy? Did I not listen? Did I not bring home good grades? Did I not do my chores? Like, what was wrong with me that he wanted to leave me at 6, but he was good enough to stay around for my brother who's going in those, junior year of high school? It must be my fault. He doesn't love me. What I didn't know, because I'm a 6-year-old little boy, was that my father had multiple relationships with my mom, and she threw him out. Right. So, but your mom's not going to explain that to you at 6 years old.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I held on to that until, actually, I didn't know the truth until I was about 40 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, to be quite honest, my mom never really indulged of why her and my father got a divorce. Wow. And I remember I was talking to her one day, and I did the whole woe is me, pity party. I'm a victim. My dad didn't love me my whole life. This is why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
And she's like, what are you talking about? Your father loves you. He's always loved you. He's just self-centered and egotistical, and he was a ladies' man. He liked women. I'm like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, your father cheated on me multiple times. I couldn't stand it. I loved myself more than that. Oh, man. I'm like, Mom, I never knew that. She's like, yeah, it had nothing to do with you. He loves you. You're his son. But you don't know that.
Yeah.
And we tend to make things much bigger or more in depth than what they were. But my mother did a fantastic job raising me. The first year my dad left, my mother made $10,000 the entire year.
Wow. And
she kept a roof over my head. She kept food in the fridge. We weren't stocked with food, but we didn't go without.
Yeah.
The electric was on, the heat was on.
Yeah.
She did everything she could.
Yeah.
That year that he left, at the end of that year, at 32 years old, my mother transformed her life. She became one of the first 10 professional female bodybuilders in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She traveled the country, traveled the world, doing competitions, magazines. She was a trailblazer in the 80s. Yeah. So she went from feeling sorry to herself to completely transforming her. She was packing a half a day smoker, completely stopped smoking. Never no drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
My mom's 73. I think I've seen that lady drink 6 beers my entire life. She just never did. You know what I mean? So that was never an issue. I never grew up around it. It was never in the house. But she completely transformed her life. Yeah. Put herself through college. Got a first job and then a second job. Put herself through college. She got a master's degree. Yeah. Eventually a master's degree.
Wow.
And became the first female vice president of her company. Yeah. So, but growing up, she made sure I was always in sports. Played baseball for 8 years, from like kindergarten, first grade, all the way through middle school. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I played recreational football, which is weird because 6th, 7th, and 8th, I played for the Loch Raven Ravens.
Oh, really?
Fast forward 20-some years, we got the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
And our colors were black and purple.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah,
Wow.
like that's so.
Wow.
You know, I thought about it one time. I was like, that's kind of ironic.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, and all during the time I was playing football, I was a sponsored skateboarder. So I grew up with a gentleman named Brandon Novak, a gentleman named Bucky Lasik, Matt Martin, who's a local guy in Maryland who now owns 410 Skate Company. I was in one of the first Alien Workshop VHS skateboard videos featuring Rob Dyrdek.
That was big. So
Yes.
the listeners that don't have a concept that was going on, that was like mid-late 80s, early 90s, right? Like skateboarding was
big.
Everybody wanted a skateboard,
Yeah.
right? And so to be a sponsored skateboard, it was like, oh, shoot, like they really doing it, right? On TV or whatever it may be. But that was the first time I remember in the 80s, like, oh, shoot, as a kid, you can be sponsored to do some
I
type
remember
of
that.
sport.
Yeah,
Man.
I was there.
Yeah.
And you know, it did not help that I lived 3 blocks away from Brandon Novak.
Yeah.
If nobody knows who he is, he was on Jackass, Viva La Bam, and Bam Margera's best friend. But I met him, I was in 5th grade, he was in 3rd, and he was the talk of the school because he just filmed his first Gatorade commercial with Michael Jordan. And I'm 10, so he was 7 or 8, and he was a celebrity in elementary school. We hit it off and became friends, and when he was in town, not doing his tours and stuff like that, he would call me, I'd spend the night, we'd skateboard. And through him, I met Bucky Lasik, who, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the best professional skateboarders in the world. Multiple gold X Game winner. So through Brandon, I got to meet him and skate with him a bunch of times. Through Brandon, I was able to meet Rob Dyrdek and be in the Alien Workshop video. It was really cool. People ask me if I have any regrets. I don't have regrets, but if I could go back and change one thing, in 9th grade, I wouldn't have gave up skateboarding for my first girlfriend. Right? But you're in 9th grade.
Yeah. That girl.
You
That
get the
girl.
She's like, you're skating every day. I'm like, I love skateboarding. Well, you love skateboarding more than me. Oh, you're right. I love you.
Oh, man.
I'm in true love, right?
Oh, man.
But if it would have been, it would have been.
Yeah.
So, but no, my mom, she made sure I was always active. Made sure I knew I was loved. When I was in 6th grade, she started dating who ended up becoming my stepfather.
Oh, awesome.
She was married to my stepfather for 28 years. Actually, longer than she was ever with my father. She was with my father for 18.
Yep. Wow.
So my stepfather was more of a cool uncle or a big brother. He wasn't really a father figure as far as disciplinary things. But he taught me how to snowboard, ski, water ski, taught me how to ride dirt bikes, go-karts, told me how to work on things. He actually introduced me into becoming a carpenter at the age of 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he fixed everything himself. He said, why would I pay somebody when I can do it myself? Yeah. And so I remember
good old days.
Yeah. 7th, 8th grade, they bought a house. He wanted to renovate it. And I remember him saying, we're going to loft this house and put a dormer on the back and 2 dormers up front. I'm like, who's doing it? He's like, me, my brothers, you, and your brother. I'm like, what? He said, yeah. I'm not going to pay somebody to do it. So that was the first time I was introduced to framing and electrical and drywall and plumbing. And he's like, it's simple. You know, just follow your path and see what you're doing. And looking back on it, he did a crappy job, right? Because I became a carpenter and I worked for companies and we did commercial jobs.
And then you're looking back like, he didn't do that.
Yeah, he didn't do it right. He got the job done, but it wasn't up to code whatsoever. But that interested me in seeing something bad, tearing it down to nothing, and bringing it back beautiful.
Oh, man, that's powerful right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful right there.
And it's kind of like what I do now.
Yeah.
Seeing people at their worst, maybe inspiring them along the way and helping them grow and becoming something beautiful, or what it was always meant to look like or be. So my mom today still is my biggest supporter, my cheerleader. Watching somebody being broken from the love of her life, which was my father, to pulling herself up and excelling at life is the biggest motivator I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, travelers, man, we're going to take a pause, but in the next segment, we're going to get into that transition, man. Thanks, Tim, for sharing the beginning of his story, but we're going to hear how his foundation and then how he transferred into the later part of his life, the times of the ups and downs, the battles he's gone through, but then how that foundation kind of really brought him back to where he is today. But we'll be right back right after this commercial.
I'm outside today with the Elite Swing Trainer. I really like this product because it helps me keep my hands inside the baseball. It helps me work through the center of the field. What I'm trying to focus on is I'm trying to stay super short to the baseball and through it. This here provides instant feedback. You know instantly when you hit it. I don't have to reset every time I mess up. I love this thing because it provides the ability to come out here and do it yourself. I can come out here, attach this thing straight to the tee. All I need is my tee, a couple baseballs in this thing, and I can go get a session in. If you're a hitter that struggles with casting your hands, getting long to the baseball and not working through it, I would really suggest the Elite Swing Trainer because it allows you to work on those concepts, because being short to the ball is something that's really valued in the game of baseball.
All right, we're back. Thanks for sticking with us, man. We hope you enjoy that commercial. Hit Doctor, man. We've really been moving, really been growing that company over this past 2-3 years now.
Yes.
Experiencing a lot of great things and have a lot more things that are to come.
Big things to come.
Yes, really
we can't. I know every time we say, hey, we have this company and we're doing this and this and that, we say we're gonna let you guys know. You guys are like, and I hear you guys are like, when you guys gonna let us know? We definitely cannot let you know about what's gonna happen, but stay tuned. In a couple of months, you're gonna be like, oh, that's why they couldn't tell us.
Yeah.
Trust me. But Rick, let's get back to our show. Let me tell you, it was so, Ricky called me one day and said, I met this guy. I went to see Tim. Well, we both talked to him on the phone, but Ricky was first to go up there and see you face to face. And he said, yo, Marlon, I had chills about the story. And I was like, all right. And then I met Tim one day and I went up and he was telling the story and I was just like, wow.
I never seen Marlon cry, man. He was in tears.
That's always playing me, man. No, but so Tim, the story that, like Ricky said, you're in the Marine Corps, you joined the Marine Corps, and let's take it from there. You're in the Marine Corps, and you take it away because you can tell it better than we know it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go a month before I went in the Marine. Well, that year before I went in the Marine Corps, my grades weren't good. I know I wasn't getting into college. A lot of my friends were starting to do drugs and party. I really didn't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
My dad, my grandfather, both my grandfathers, my dad, and my brother all joined the Army. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna join the military. So senior year, I already signed up for the delayed entry program. I knew when I graduated, I had like 2 weeks after graduation, I was going in the Marine Corps. I didn't want to wait and have a full summer because I might change my mind.
Yep.
Right, and not want to go. So,
especially with the girls.
But so that senior year, I told myself, I'm gonna have some fun this year. I never hung out with people that drank or smoked or did drugs. I just wasn't. I was an athlete.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with it. But that senior year, I said, let me have some fun. So I started going to parties. I started drinking alcohol. For me, I found out that once I drank some alcohol, my moral barriers dropped. That first alcohol sip led to me smoking pot, LSD, mushrooms, K2, PCP, methamphetamines, cocaine, whatever was pretty much at the party.
You were trying it.
Let me try it, right? But when I get to my root of my addiction, it was after I had that first beer. That inability to have any type of morals or character went out the window. So at the end of the year, I graduate high school and I get into the Marine Corps. The drugs obviously stopped. There was no more drugs while I was in the Marine Corps. Graduate boot camp, get to my MOS training at Camp Geiger for 0311 SOI school. And once I got that, I went to Camp Lejeune in the fleet. If you know about any type of military, not just the Marine Corps, drinking alcohol
is part of the culture.
It's like half of your MOS.
Yes.
Drinking water.
Right.
It's like drinking water. You're right.
You train, you drink, you train, you drink. It was like, and there's no deterrent.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're 18, 19, 20, you're not of age. You drink.
Yeah.
It's just part of the culture. It is. It's part of the culture. That's what you do. Yeah. And I think the Marines take that to another level. I mean, we were founded in Tun Tavern, which was a bar. So we kind of elevate that, right? And as you know, when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you go to these bars. You'll see your sergeants at these bars.
Yeah.
And they're not like, you shouldn't be drinking, you're underage. Make sure your ass doesn't get locked up in a fight and be on formation at 3:30 in the morning, ready to go drill and run and your thing. Other than that, have a good time, fellas.
Yeah.
I kind of still agree with the fact that if I'm old enough to take a bullet for this country, I should be old enough to have a cold beer.
Oh, yeah. I hear you saying.
But my character defects doesn't go to everybody. I just always took it to the next level.
Yeah.
So in 1995, my unit gets deployed to Somalia for 6 months. This was after the war. So technically, I wouldn't consider myself a war veteran. I was never in a firefight. I didn't have to fight for my life. But we were not welcome there. It was hostile.
Yep.
I did get to see the ramifications of what war did to its people. I did see bodies. I did see dead people. I saw blown up villages. And so at the time when I was there, I was taking it all in, really didn't think it had any effect on me whatsoever until I did get back to the States. We had to do the decompression, and I found myself not being able to detach of what I literally just saw. Why was I there? Why were we there? Why did I join the Marine Corps? To kill? Because that's what I told myself when I first wanted to be 18. Yeah. I didn't want to join the Army, right? I wanted to be a Marine.
Yeah, you wanted to be on the front line.
Kill, kill, kill. That's what we were bred to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, blood makes the grass grow.
Yes,
That's what we do.
That's what does.
I didn't want to be a motor T. I wanted to be 0311. I wanted to have an M16. I wanted to be up front. I wanted to be in the mix. And why am I doing this? Do I want to be a part of something that goes to another country and kills its people for what? Like, what's the big root cause?
Yeah.
Money, power, political things. Like, am I part of any of that? And I had some really hard times comprehending why I've really joined the Marine Corps. So they started making me see a chaplain. They started making me see the psych evaluations. And after a few months, my company commander, my gunnery sergeant, my captain, pretty much deemed me medically unfit for active duty as an 0311. Their first thing was, well, we want to change your MOS. I mean, I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to be a POG, which is person other than grunt.
Yep.
I came to be 0311.
Yeah.
Well, you're not medically fit to be an 0311 anymore. Well, what are my options? Well, you've been in coming up 2.5 years now. You can get out honorably. We won't. It was not a dishonorable discharge, but if you don't want to change your MOS, we're going to have to, discharge her for medical reasons, but honorable discharge.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years, and they started my paperwork, and I was out in like 90 days. I remember I got home. The first month, honestly, was kind of cool. I didn't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Didn't have to shave every day. Didn't have to make my bed. Didn't have to answer yes or no, sir. It was kind of a decompression period of being in the military. I can just relax.
Yeah.
The second month hit me, and I'm 21. I'm living back at my mom's house in my old bedroom. I've got no job, no truck, no identity. Growing up, I was a baseball player, a football player, skateboarder, a junior Olympic Golden Glove boxer. Now I'm supposed to be in the Marines, and now I'm a 21-year-old, unemployed young man living at my mom's house. Like, what a failure. That's what I told myself. Wow. You couldn't even hack another year and a half. Like, you failed.
Wow.
And that third month hit me, and I fell into a significantly deep depression. And one day I Went into my stepfather's armoire, I grabbed his Glock, and I sat it on my lap. Didn't know what to do. Thank God I had the right mind to call my girlfriend at the time, and I said, hey, there's something wrong. I have a gun on my lap. I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. And within 5 minutes, she was at the apartment. She came over. She took the gun from me. That evening when my mom came home, I told her that I needed to see somebody. I didn't tell her I was just in my stepfather's armoire and I had his gun on my lap. I didn't want to get committed. I didn't want to go to a psych ward and all that stuff. But I told her, I said, Mom, there's something wrong. I need to see somebody. So that week she set up an appointment, go to the doctors. And this is going in 1996. They diagnosed me with bipolar 1 manic depressive disorder. Their first solution is to give you medicines.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really talk about this part because I don't care if you're put on psychiatric medicines, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart medicines, whatever the medicine is that a doctor puts you on, whether it's psychiatric or for medical needs, please be honest with your doctors. If you are not honest with your doctors, the medicines that they prescribe to you will not work the way that they're intended to. They don't. It literally says on there, alcohol may intensify this effect, adverse reactions. So when I went back for my 30, 60, or 90-day evaluation, how's the medicines doing, Tim? Oh, I don't know. They're not working. I feel worse now than I did 90 days ago. What's wrong with me? I must be really crazy. These medicines aren't working. Well, let's up the milligrams.
Yep.
Let's add a third medicine to help with these other two. Come back in another 90.
Tell me,
That repetitively coming back, switching medicines, going up and down in milligrams, dosages, going to psychiatrists, went on from the age of 21 till the age of 44 till I ultimately got sober. They could never pinpoint why my bipolar medicine wasn't working.
Wow.
Well, I never told them I was drinking 12 to 18 beers a day, taking pain pills, smoking marijuana, taking LSD, doing some cocaine here and there, all while taking the medicines. The medicines aren't designed to work with drugs and alcohol in your system. They never are. And for an addict, you look on the side of that bottle and it says alcohol may intensify the effect.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's get a six-pack.
Let's do it.
Let's intensify this effect, right? Because that's my mindset. So they never could pinpoint because I wasn't honest with them. Not only wasn't honest with them, I wasn't honest with myself. I didn't want to admit that I was an addict. I didn't want to admit that I had bipolar. I was ashamed that I was born different than anybody else. Why did I have to take medicine to be normal? Why did I have to take medicine to get up and go to work and take care of my responsibilities? What's wrong with me? What did I do to be born like this? I was ashamed. I felt guilty. I'd be judged. People would make fun of me. So I would take it for some months and then just stop taking it because I was just like, I don't want to be like this. I got to take medicine every day. I'm in my 20s. Why do I got to take medicine every day just to get up? Well, because I was born with a chemical imbalance. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. I'm different. It's okay. Right? Now I can say that. Coming up on 4 years sobriety. But in my 20s, I didn't want to admit that I had to take a pill every day to possibly have a chance at this life. Where if I had a heart disease, you bet your ass I'd be taking that pill every day. I don't want to die.
Correct.
But when it comes to addiction or mental health, well, I'm not going to do what they suggest. It's easier to self-medicate. I'm having fun anyway. I'm going out to bars and going to parties and going to concerts. That's fun. But taking a little pill every day, there must be something wrong with me. It just, the mind, the way that you think about it, how you kind of just, you self-sabotage your future with your own
demeaning thought process.
It's like,
and if you stay in that, and it happens to a lot of people, I don't want people to think that, oh man, it's only because of this.
Just the addicts, like that's I think a lot of people are going through that right now, especially
in this world.
In this world.
Yeah,
like you're saying, these physicians are quick to give you some medication and not tell you, like you're saying, the ramifications of not following, or why are you not, or why you need to take it, or please take it, or whatever the situation is. And the person is just either they abuse that medication sometimes, or even they don't take it, and it causes them to go, all over the place.
It does. It's like I would take it for 6-7 months, right?
Yeah.
And then I would stop taking it, and then I'd crash. And I'd go back to the doctor, and they were like, "Well, what happened? Why stop taking it?"
Yeah.
Why? I felt fine.
It felt great. Yeah.
Tim, it was working. Wait, what? Yeah, why'd you stop taking it? Oh, because I didn't need it anymore.
No.
I'm cured. It's gone. My bipolar's gone. Right? No.
No, the medication.
But that's the mindset I had. Well, I don't need to take it anymore. I'm feeling okay. So we just stopped taking it. You can't just stop fighting one day.
No.
And mental health and addiction has nothing to do with it. Us as human beings, I see we get a lot of complacency in our lives.
Yes.
We get to a certain point and we're like, I'm good.
Yep.
I got my house, I got a car, I got a decent job, I got a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever it may be. I'm good.
Yep.
Well, life doesn't just stay like that.
Yeah.
As long as you stay on that plane, you're dying.
Yeah, you got to elevate every day. You have to, or else life is just going to completely go by you. You're going to blink your eyes and be like, well, why am I still here? When everybody else is up here.
Complacency.
Think about your body.
Yeah.
Like you're a bodybuilder, right? And if you
You
don't,
too, Rick.
I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm aspiring to bodybuilder. When I see pictures, but you can get to a point where like, oh yeah, I lift, I look good, I feel great, my body feels great, and then you just stop.
Yeah.
You don't try to maintain. You don't try to increase your weight. You don't try to do anything. What happens to your muscle? Your muscles start degrading. Like everything in you. It's unfortunate, but the way this world is designed and the way our bodies are designed is we're designed to die. Like everything, our cells die. We're born with a certain amount of cells. Those cells die. All the things will die. So the same thing with life. It's like, hey, if you're not doing something to increase, to continue to push yourself, continue to push your muscles, continue to push your mental health, all those different things in life, you're going to slowly die. Look at our economy, right? Our dollar bill was worth something. At this point, 10 years from now, that dollar bill, 20 years from now, the value of the dollar bill is even less. Everything around you is growing. And so if you stay maintaining at that same place, you're actually dying.
Yeah. And in the same vein of just being, where the military, a lot of people, when people die on a deployment, when they're complacent. So it doesn't happen when you first get there. If you notice, they're going to say, we're there for a while, we understood the terrains, right? And then you think like, I got this.
Yeah.
Same thing, I got this. One day we went out to another firefight and this happened. Or I was driving down this MSR, this road, and that we drove, and they always say that we drive all the time.
I've been there before.
Yep. This happened. When you get complacent, that's when usually something happens. And it's the same thing in our lives, like you're saying. Because everything is meant to die, and you have to, good example was the dollar bill like you're talking about. If you just think,
like that one.
I love that one. I'm a money guy, I love that one. If you start with your dollar in the beginning of the year and think that next year you're going to be able to buy the same egg.
Perfect example.
Right? You're not going to be able to buy the same egg January 1 that you were able to buy with the same dollar that you were able to buy. So everything changes. And if you don't change with that time, or you don't understand how to maneuver through it, we're not saying lose yourself, your morals and your principles. We're saying that you have to change in terms of understanding where you're at and move forward. Yeah. But we definitely want you to go more in depth in your story. I'm loving the story. I'm loving hearing it again. So you're back. You're going to the doctors. You'll work for 7 months. You'll stop taking it. You'll tell them it's working, and then you're playing tricks on your own self.
100%.
Yeah.
Self-sabotage.
Self-sabotaging yourself. Go more in depth.
Yeah.
with
So during this time, I met my soon-to-be what would become my wife. I bought my first house with my Montgomery GI. I mean my VA. Went to community college with my Montgomery GI Bill for a year at Essex. Got a job now.
So you're functioning in all of this.
I'm surviving.
Surviving. Okay. Okay.
There's no such thing as a functioning addict.
Okay.
There's
all right.
a surviving.
Surviving. So you're surviving.
You survive until you can't anymore.
Yeah.
There's no, the functioning addict does not exist.
It's not surviving. I'm gonna stop using it.
Yeah.
Can I always say it's functioning alcoholic, a surviving alcoholic.
You're surviving right now.
Right now,
Eventually,
day to day.
Eventually, you're gonna die.
Wow.
I'm gonna start using
You're
that.
surviving through it.
Yeah.
So, we get married, have our first daughter. Now, mind you, even though we have a house, I have my daughter, I still cannot hold a permanent job. From the time I was 21 until the time I was 44, I got sober. I went through 46 job employments.
Woo. Wow.
And I'm not talking under the table. I'm talking taxed, W-2, filing taxes. The only good thing, I can't even say the good thing, I was lucky enough to find employment. Once I would lose a job, I might have a 2 or 3 week, off. By the time I started another job, I was able always to find employment. Having a trade as a carpenter, I was lucky enough to be able to go right into another job, another contractor. So I was always able to stay employed 80% of the year. Right. But I never stayed I don't think I stayed with one company longer than a year or two, maybe two and a half total, you know. And then I would get complacent, not want to go into work. I'm the best employee they got. They can't work without me. They're going to crumble without me. Okay, right. I'm just another employee number. They're going to fill my position on Monday. Right? Self-entitlement. I'm the man. I got this. I'm the best carpenter they've ever seen in the world. And they've had a job or a company for 50 years. I'm the best one they've ever seen. Okay. Right. Ego. So, but couldn't hold a job. But my wife, for the longest time, was like, just go get another job. We'll be fine. I have a full-time job. I was married for 28 years, and she had 2 jobs. And the first job was at 19. My mom brought her into the company. She was a vice president. She started as an actual switchboard operator at their company.
Wow.
She became a lab technician, went to school, and was running labs.
Wow.
Then she became a female manager of the logistics department. And then from there, she did 13 years at that company, and then she became the first female logistics manager of a privately owned company called Flavor and Fragrance. It's like a McCormick's. And she's been there ever since. So here's she's one with 2 jobs and making good money, almost 6 figures, if not 6 figures with bonuses and overtime and stuff like that. But she was just like, we're fine. You'll get another job in a couple of weeks. I'll carry the bills. I got used to that. She'll carry the bills for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm good to go. I really don't have to look for a job for at least a week. And then I'll sit back and relax. So I'm not going to say she coddled me in that kind of an aspect, but she never put her foot on the gas. That if you don't get a job or if you lose another one, I'm leaving. She would always just be like, it's going to be okay. We got you. It's going to be okay. So that went on and off from all in my 20s up until the age of 32. She gets pregnant with our second daughter, and I lose a job again. It had to have been my 30th job at that point. And she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I just can't. I'm not a 9-to-5 guy. Like something's telling me I'm just not a 9-to-5 person. I want excitement. I want to do something. I like attention. I like people looking at me. I like feeling something. My self-esteem, my self-worth, my self-value. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, I really don't know, but I'm still in good shape. I'm only 32. I go to the gym every day. I'm still athletic. I was still training at the boxing gym and doing taekwondo and stuff like that. I was like, I want to be a fighter. She's like, you're 32. I'm like, well, if I don't know it now, I'm never going to be able to do it. Like, I'm still in that time frame. And she's like, okay. She's like, I'll give you a year. She's like, I'll cover the bills for a year. If you can start fighting and make a living of this, and that's what your heart is set on, then I will support you. So I started training at the local gym here in Baltimore, Maryland, ground control, ran by John Rollo. And within 6 months, I had my first amateur fight. That year ended up being almost 4 years of fighting and became a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And I fought up and down the East Coast, fought on TV, fought for belts, and I was making decent money. Yeah. $1,500, $2,000 a fight. Yeah. That's not, I'm not driving a Porsche, right? I'm not buying a new house. Yeah. I'm barely helping making the bills. But for me at the time, I found my self-worth. Yeah. My self-value. I could see putting in the training and getting a reward back at the end of the day.
Well, man, if you fight every day, that's some good money.
Well, yeah, what I didn't know when I first fought is whether you win or lose after your fight, you have a 30-day suspension. Period.
That you got because they just want to make sure you recover or whatever.
Yeah, you got to go back and see the doctor. You got to go see the cardiologist, the head doctor. Yeah, I didn't know all that. If you get cut, you're out for 6 months. If you get a concussion or you get knocked out, you're out for 6 months. But regardless, you're out for 30 days. So that $1,500 don't go really ain't nothing, right? But it was enough for her not to be like on my back. Yeah. It gets to the point where I'm 36. Yeah, it's about almost 5 years into it. I'm at my last fight at Harris Casino, fighting for the 155-pound belt. About 3,000 people. It's all live on television. And I get a guy in a rear naked choke. I feel some burning, some popping. And all of a sudden it feels like somebody stabbed me with a hot knife all on my shoulder. I had to let go. He flipped me around and choked me out. I get back to the locker room and I go to get dressed and I can't lift my right arm. I'm like, something's wrong. Oh my God. So my trainer helps him put the shirt on. I go out into the casino where I had like 25, 30 friends and family that came and watched me, all wearing my shirts and promoting it all. Yeah. And my wife goes to hand me a beer. Well, even though I write with my left hand, I do everything else right-handed. So I'm kind of ambidextrous. I do a little bit of both. And she goes to hand me my beer and I grab it with my left. Well, I don't hold anything in my left. Unless I was in the military, because you hold everything in your left. You got to right. Other than that, I was always left-handed. I mean, right-handed. And I go to hand it with my left. And she's like, you don't ever hold anything with your left hand. She's like, what's wrong? I was like, I can't lift my arm. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is all I got. She's like, are you kidding me? I was like, no. She's like, that's it. You're done. You got to go see a doctor now. So went and saw a doctor, and I tore my labrum in 3 places. And I had to have rotator cuff surgery on my right shoulder. That started a 4.5-year-long pain pill prescription addiction to Oxycontins.
I want you, I'm gonna tell you, and I don't know who's listening. I'm happy that you said in the beginning if we even talk to one. I don't know who's listening, but this is not an isolated incident.
No.
A lot of people so Ricky and I, we have sobriety houses right now. Majority of the people that we talk to, you would think, oh, they went on the streets and started taking drugs. They'll say, no, I went to a doctor, I got a prescription, I got my wisdom tooth out, I got a Vicodin or whatever, and that started, or I was in the hospital, I got a surgery and they were giving me pain medicine. And that spiraled them down into drugs.
Yes.
So if you're taking these pain medicines, or you know somebody that's taking these pain medicines as just not for what it's prescribed for, you got to talk to them or get them to some kind of institution that will help them out, because I'm seeing that this is a big problem.
It's huge. Thank God they've changed the way things are now.
Yeah.
Because in 2013, when I had the surgeries, I could just go to my primary care physician at this time and get them refilled.
Yep.
I didn't have to go to a pain management clinic. I didn't have to see a specialist. I didn't have to go to the orthopedic. Like, I didn't have to go to a specific thing. And I don't know if you remember, but when Oxys first came out,
yeah, man, everybody
they were
was
labeled
selling.
unaddictive. You can stop whenever you want. They're the next best thing since Tylenol.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What a crock. What a lie. So my PCP would just give them to me every month. And I'm an addict, so I wouldn't take one every 4 hours. I was taking 3 or 4 every 4 hours. I was running out of my prescription 2 weeks before he would refill it. So I was able to call my friends and get them to get me stuff on the streets to be able to hold me over till my refill. Now, I'm going to sound a little bit older now, but what was out in the streets then versus what's out there now?
Oh, yeah.
Completely different.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I actually got Percocets when I got them, or hydrocodone, or Oxys.
Now you don't know what you're getting.
You'd be lucky if 1/10 of what you think you're getting is actually in what you think you're getting. That fentanyl, the xylazine, the carafentanil, all that stuff. These kids are buying the precursors online on the black market from China, pressing them in their basements, and selling them as a Percocet or a hydrocodone or an Oxy or cocaine.
X-pill or whatever.
Ecstasy, whatever you think you're buying out on the streets, 99.9% it is not what you think it is. I cannot tell you how many people come into the treatment center and say, I've just been doing cocaine for the last 6 months, and they test positive for methamphetamines or benzos or xylazine or fentanyl. I've never done that in my life. I've been doing cocaine. No, this is what you've been doing. That's what you've been taking. You don't know. So, not that saying it was safe to do it, but that's like saying cocaine in the 80s was cocaine in the 80s, because it really was. Like, now it's not. Everything's changed. That everything always changes. That's one thing that's consistent is change.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I got addicted to them really quick because the availability was quick. My doctor would give them to me. They didn't have to jump through hoops. And of course, I played the game. I knocked it in the toilet. Half my prescription fell down. Can you give me a refill 10 days, a little bit before? And he would do it every once in a while. But then he'd be like, no, you have to wait. So I would have to go to my friends. It got to the point where I'm taking 10 to 15, 20 milligram oxys a day. I'm drinking 12 to 18 beers, and I'm smoking anywhere from an eighth to a quarter of pot a day. And I remember sitting in my bed one day, and I'm like, even though this is what I'm used to taking every day, that's what makes me feel normal, I might go to bed one night and not wake up. Between the oxys and the alcohol, they're all suppressants. They're all respiratory suppressants. And there's a chance I might go to bed one night and not wake up. And, well, screw that. I'm not going to die in my sleep. If I'm going to die, I'm going to do it now. And I reach over and I grab the pill in my nightstand, and I dump the whole bottle out in my hand. I had 18 20 milligram oxys. I take all 18 of them. I go out into the kitchen, grab a 12-pack of beer, sit in the living room, and I down 12 beers in like 45 minutes. I remember getting up and going into my bedroom and laying in my bed and saying, please, God, don't let me wake up. I don't know how to stop taking these pills. I can no longer live this way. Please take the pain away. The pain that I was feeling was not a physical pain. The pain of despair, hopelessness, a pain in the soul that if you've ever felt that way, where no one will understand what you're going through, they're going to judge me, they're going to make fun of me, they're going to stereotype me, that hopeless feeling that I know most of us might go through at one point of our time, where nothing's going to get better, nothing's going to change, no one's going to understand. I just want the pain to go away. That's that pain I was feeling. And I just wanted it to stop. I couldn't take it anymore. And I had no other options. I didn't know how to stop it. So I pass out. I woke up that next night, the next day. It was like 18 hours later. And I remember it's like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And my first thought was, holy shit, I didn't die. My second thought was to immediately get up and go into the bathroom where I had a refill. I don't know if it was 60 or 90, but I had a refill in the bathroom. And I dumped the entire thing down the toilet. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror and saying, this is going to get bad. I don't care how bad it gets, but we are never taking pain pills again. And for the next 10 days of my life, I was the sickest I think I've ever been in my entire life.
That detox.
The detox of coming off of opioids is awful.
Comes home now, and she's like, okay, I need to cut out the pain medication. She said she did not understand what was happening to her until she said, I'm going through detox. And she said she felt like she had to take, I'm talking about somebody that doesn't take any kind of drug, not addicted to it. Like she's like, she had the urge, like I had to go back and take these pills. And she said when she locked herself in to get off the pills, sweating.
Yep.
She said she went through, it was a terrible time.
It's racing thoughts, insomnia, sweating, vomiting, chills, fever, restless leg, throwing up, going to the bathroom, flu-like symptoms times 10. Your bones are aching, your muscles are aching. You literally feel like you're deteriorating into nothing. But every day when I woke up, in between the tears and the vomiting and the sweating, I looked in the mirror and I told myself, remember this feeling. Remember this feeling. We're never taking pain pills again. And I remember telling myself that every day as my face is flushed and tears and snot, and I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, remember this feeling, remember this feeling. I told myself, we're never doing it again. At the end of those 10 days, I had to get out of the house. I've been in the house dying. Basically, that's what it felt like. And if you're from the Baltimore, Maryland area, there's a beautiful reservoir called Loch Raven Reservoir. And we always used to, in high school, cut and go out there when it was nice out and have a beer or smoke some pot or listen to music and stuff. So I was like, I'm going to go through a ride through Loch Raven. And I'm driving through Loch Raven. And I remember at this time, I had zero faith in a higher power, a God, a Buddha, Allah, whatever you believe in, whatever your faith is. Didn't exist. Because in my mind, if you loved me and you created me, then how could you make me suffer this bad? I didn't have the concept. So I'm driving through Loch Raven and I'm like banging on the steering wheel and I'm yelling up, why'd you doing this to me? You don't exist. You're a lie. You know, if you loved me, you wouldn't be doing this to me. And I'm driving through Loch Raven and I get to this tree where December 26th, 1997, my best friend at the age of 18 was going through Loch Raven, speeding, lost control of his vehicle, hit the tree, and unfortunately lost his life. And I get to the tree where his parents had put a picture of him up on the tree, and they had a book wrapped in plastic that you could take out and write to him. So kind of a vigil. That's where he passed. And I get out to the tree, and I go up and I put my hand on the tree, and I say, Bill, I need a sign. There's nothing else out there. I'm lost. I don't know why I survived. Please, if there is something else out there greater than myself, please just send me a sign. I need to know that I'm not alone. And I go to turn around to leave the park. Well, I'm still crying. My nose is running. So I pull over on the side of the road to collect myself. But instead of pulling over on the right-hand side as I'm leaving, I cross traffic and I pull over on the left-hand side, completely on the wrong side of the road. And I'm blowing my nose, I'm wiping my tears, and I'm crying. And about 5, maybe 10 minutes goes by, and this car pulls up, and we're windshield to windshield because I'm obviously parked on the wrong side of the road. And the man gets out, he opens his back door, and he grabs his dog from the back seat, and he's about to walk across the street where the water is. And I'm looking at this man. I'm like, man, he looks so familiar. I can't place it. It's March 16th, 2017. I'll remember this date forever. And I watched the man walk across the street, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, oh my gosh. My best friend who died in 1997, it was his father. I hadn't seen this man since the day of my friend's funeral, 21 years earlier. So I get out of my car, and I look at him. I say, excuse me. I was like, Mr. Bill? And he looks over at me. He's like, Timmy? He's like, what are you doing here? And I fall to the curb on the side of the road, and I start crying. I said, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. I tried committing suicide. I don't know why I'm here. And he walks over to me, and he puts his hand on my shoulder. He says, Timmy, I'm not supposed to be here. My bags are packed in my truck. I was supposed to leave at 6:30 this morning and be in Myrtle Beach for a family reunion. My wife came to me in a dream last night and told me to come walk the dog this morning at 10 a.m. Woo! I looked at him and I said, Mr. Bill, I just stopped at Billy's tree and asked him for a sign that we weren't alone. And he says, Timmy, we're not alone. They're watching out over us. You're being protected. Everything's going to be okay. Now, I leave the park and I have about 10 minutes of, wow, like there is something else out there. I'm being protected. I'm being watched out over. Everything's going to be okay. And this is how powerful mental illness and addiction is. Just like that, it changes my thoughts and it says, you're right. You're being protected. You're being watched out over. So you don't have to start getting high and drinking because nothing's going to happen to you. You got a guardian angel. So from 2017 to 2021, I did not ever pick up another pain pill. Thank God. But my alcoholism shot through the roof because I'm used to drinking, taking a pain pill, and smoking pot. So the 12 to 18 beers went from the Miller Lights to the Sam Adams, to the IPAs. And then now I'm drinking the Flying Dogs that are 13, 15%, the real thick beer. Still drinking 12 to 18 of those, which if you're a beer drinker and you're used to a Miller Lite, which has got about 3% alcohol in it, and you pick up a beer that's 13, well, one of those beers is 4 of those Miller Lights.
So your 18 is compounded.
It's like drinking a case and a half, easy of Miller Lite. So I'm drinking them. I have the brilliant idea one day of on the counter grabbing a miniature because, I need to add a little something to this. I don't like liquor. I never really did. I would have a shot at a wedding or a birthday party. Just, okay, I'll do one with everybody. Everybody's having one. Never really liked liquor. So I go for the Fireball. They taste like candy, right? It's got a little candy to it. I like the little Fireballs candy back in the day. So I remember getting out into the parking lot, and I remember throwing that first miniature back. And it was instantaneous, warm feeling I could feel go through my body and hit my toes. Same feeling that the pain pills would give you when they kicked in. That warm blanket, like everything released, kind of like you're okay. And I remember thinking, yep, this is it. This is what I've been missing. Go back in and got 3 more. The 12 to 18 beers started dwindling down to 12. Well, the 3 to 4 miniatures started going to 5 and 6. Then the 12 beers stayed at 12. Well, now I'm picking up a sleeve, which if anybody knows what a sleeve is, it's 10 miniatures that are still wrapped in plastic. You can save a couple bucks by getting a sleeve.
You get a bulk.
So now I'm picking up a sleeve. The 12 beer starts dwindling down to 6. Now I'm picking up 2 sleeves, which is 20 Fireball miniatures. At the end of my addiction, the last year and a half, I was drinking a 6-pack of beer a day, and I was drinking 30 to 35 Fireball miniatures every single day.
Oh my goodness.
My biggest question that I'm asked is, why didn't you just get a big bottle? Well, if I got a big bottle and I drank that whole thing, I surely am an alcoholic.
Oh, okay.
The proof is there. The bottle's gone. I drank that whole thing in one day.
Yeah. Not with the miniatures.
Not with the miniatures, because I forget how much I drank. I can't hide the miniatures from my wife. I mean, I can't hide the bottle from my wife.
But you can hide the miniatures.
I can hide the miniatures, and I can drive with the miniatures, drink it, and throw it out the window. If I get pulled over, I ain't got no open container. What are you talking about? It's gone.
Yeah.
I hide them in my socks when I walk in the house, hide them in the medicine drawer, hide them out in the shed, and I don't have to take much accountability that, I drank 30 to 35 Fireball miniatures today. But the liquor store knew I was there, and they were buying cases extra just for me.
You. Jesus.
So the 30 to 35 Fireball miniatures, I didn't realize the amount of sugar that's in there, how bad the liquor is on your vital organs. So it gets to the point where I got a brand new truck. I've had it 6 weeks maybe. I still had the temporary tags on it. And I'm coming home from the liquor store. I still to this day do not know what I hit. I don't know if it was a parked car, a concrete barrier, something. But I do remember walking in my front door and telling my wife, I just wrecked my truck. I'm not dealing with this tonight. I'm going to bed. And I go in and I pass out. Well, I was a blackout drunk. So whatever happened the night before didn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Didn't happen. So I woke up, I go outside, I'm like, good morning, everybody. I'm gonna go get milk, bread, and eggs. Anybody want something specific for breakfast? And my wife's just looking at me on the couch. What are you talking about? I'm gonna go get eggs and milk. What else we need? How are you gonna do that? I was like, in my truck, it's in the driveway. Go look at your truck. So I go outside and I'm like, what you talking about? Driver's side's fine. New rims, that's perfect. Get around to the passenger side and the front quarter panel is all messed up. Side mirror's gone, and the actual rim and tire was hanging off the axle up underneath the front of the truck. I have no idea, other than when I pulled down my street and made that left, it buckled into the driveway. And I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, what in the hell happened? Wow. And she pops her head out the front door, and she looks at me and she said, you don't remember what you hit, do you? I said, I have no idea. She said, you could have killed yourself. You could have killed somebody else. I don't know what's happening to you, but you have to pack your bags and go figure this out. I don't want you around the children anymore. So I called AAA. They come to put a new tire on. I call my buddy. I pack up some few things. I'm like, hey, man, let me come over for a couple days. We've been in a situation where she needs to cool off. Let me have a couple days. She'll cool off. She'll let me back in. I'm going to be okay, but I'm going to give her some space. So I go over to his house. It's a Friday. We talk for about an hour. I'm telling him what's going on. He's like, well, it's Friday. You wrecked your truck and you got kicked out of your house. We might as well go to the bar. I'm like, God damn, that's a great idea. I justifiably have a reason to go to the bar. I got kicked out and wrecked my truck. Let's go drink. So we go to the bar. We get really, really drunk. As I'm leaving the bar, it's not even 24 hours since I wrecked it. As we leave the bar, I rear end somebody at the red light. I get out. I look at him. He looks at me. He's got a tow hitch on the back of his vehicle.
So everything
happened.
Thank
God.
Yep.
No, not a scratch on his vehicle. Now my front bumper's all jacked up. Luckily, I had the airbags off, or else they would have deployed. And I get out, I'm like, you okay? He said, yeah, I'm okay. I was like, your truck's okay? You sure you're okay? I'm okay. Slapped him on his back. I'm like, see ya. Jumped in my truck, jumped on 695 and took off. I knew I was getting locked up. Truck was getting pounded. I was completely drunk. My friend's like, let's stop by my buddy's house. We're going to go get some cocaine. I'm like, even better. So we go to a buddy's house. He gives us some coke. We go back to my buddy's house and we do it all. It's like an 8-ball. We do it all. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I can't stay here. I got to go. He's like, where are you going to go? I said, I got to go be by myself and just think about what I'm doing. And there was a 24-hour liquor store, Midway Liquors, on Route 40. They don't close till 3, and it back up to 6. So it's almost 24 hours. I guess it's enough to restock and stuff. So stop there. I get 2 sleeves of Fireball, and I go in park at the White Marsh Park and Ride. I turned my phone off, and I just wanted to sit there and pretty much give myself a pity party. My wife deserves a better husband. My kids deserve a better father. My parents deserve a better son. I'm not worthy of living anymore. I disappoint everybody. I never follow through with stuff. I'm a burden on everybody. I'm just better off not even existing because everybody would be so much better off without me. And I sat there for 2 days drinking and passing out and throwing up. 48 hours. And what I've learned in recovery and having faith in God is that nothing happens by coincidence. Everything in your life happens for you, not to you. That perspective. So at 7 after 10 in the morning on March 5th, 2021, I turned my phone on. This is 48 hours after it being completely off. 2 minutes goes by and the phone rings at 9 after 10. And I remember looking all over and it says Westchester, Pennsylvania. I'm like, I have no idea who's calling me from Pennsylvania. My first thought, it's a scam collector or bill collector. But I picked it up. And I'm like, hello. And it's my best friend from childhood, Brandon Novak. And I won't curse what he says, but he's like, Lodgen, what the F are you doing? And I'm like, I'm cold, I'm drunk, I'm hungry, and I'm tired. And he says, good, MFer, that's what you need. I got a plane ticket for you tonight, and I got you in the Banyan Treatment Centers down West Palm Beach, Florida. I want you to go get on that plane and get your life back. Now I'm just on the other line. Okay, yep, sounds good. Yep, I'll do that. Yep, thanks for calling. And I hang up. I don't want to hear about going to rehab, you know. But a couple minutes goes by and my wife calls. She's like, you're fine? I'm like, yeah. She's like, we were about to put out a missing persons. It's been 48 hours, been worried sick about you. Nobody knew where you are. I just spoke to Brandon. Please come home. Pack your bags, take a shower, eat something, and try to take a nap. Because I had about 4 to 5 hours before I had to be at the airport. I'm like, okay. So I go home, I pack my bags, I take a shower. I could not eat and I couldn't take a nap. My panic and my anxiety was through the roof. Oh my God. I have allowed my life to get so bad that I've got to go to a treatment center. Well, who's going to pay my truck payment? Who's going to keep the lights on? Who's going to cut the grass?
All that mattered now, right?
Yeah. Everything that I didn't care anything about the last God knows how many years is now priority one, right? Anything to keep me from going. I could have cared less about any of that stuff months, even years prior. They happened when I felt like it. But now all of a sudden, they're a must. I must take care of this. I can't go to rehab. I've got responsibilities. So I'm sitting on the edge of my bed and I'm talking myself out of going. I can't do it. I've got this. I've got that. I got to do this. Who's going to pick up my kids from school? Who's going to do? Like I've been doing it anyway, right? I would do it here and there, but that's foremost. And I'm sitting on the edge of my bed and I'm like, I can't go. I can't do this. And I truly believe that my addiction and my mental health knew it would be the last time they had a shot at taking my life. And I hear this voice saying, please come with me and I'll take the pain away. Take my hand and come with me. And I get up and I go to the basement of my home and it tells me to throw a rope around this beam, stand up on this bucket and I will take this pain away from you. And I throw a rope around my neck and I stand up on this bucket and it says, step off. Everything's going to be okay. Step off. Again, no coincidence. My wife realizes I'm not in the bed taking a nap and she comes looking for me. My right foot is off. As my left foot is coming off the bucket, she screams, what are you doing? And it startles me back up on the bucket. She's like, do you know what this will do to your little girls? Please get down. Get on that plane. get on that plane. Oh, everything's going to be okay. So I take the rope around from my neck. I fall to the floor. I cry for about 5 minutes. And I call my friend Brandon. I'm like, man, I'm going. I have to go. If I don't get on that plane, my mental illness and my addiction is going to kill me. And all he says is, I'm proud of you. I love you. Please call me when you pass security. I want to make sure you're getting on the plane. I'm like, okay. A couple hours go by. My mom picks me up, takes me to the airport. I get past security. And I call him, hey, man, I'm past security. I got my boarding pass. I got 35 minutes for the plane boards. I want to let you know I'm past security. I'm actually going. And he says, I'm proud of you. I love you. You're about to get back everything that you've ever lost times 10. And he just hangs up. And as I go to sit down at the seat at the airport, you hear about people having spiritual experiences, spiritual awakenings, and having some type of a connection with a divine power. And as I go to sit down at the seat at this airport, I get this overwhelming feeling of hope that completely engulfs my body. It was the same warm blanket feeling that the drugs and alcohol gave me, except this time my pain, my fear, my doubt, my worry, and it truly feels like my addiction was taken from my body. And I hear this woman's voice. Never heard it before in my life. I have never heard it since. It was very loving. It was very calming. And she simply says, everything's going to be okay. It changed me forever. I believe an angel or something spoke to me.
Yes, sir.
Even if it wasn't, that's what I will believe until I die, because it changed my mindset instantly. At 44 years old, I finally knew I was going to be okay. Like this is happening. I'm going to be okay. And when I got to the treatment center, the doctors did all my vitals and the blood test and all that stuff. And he calls me in. He's like, how'd you get here? I'm like, my friend set this up and brought me in. He's like, I want to go over the labs with you. He's like, how old are you? I was like, I'm 44. He's like, your liver and kidneys are in failure. Your heart rate it was 157 over 130 something. He's like, you're about to have a stroke. He's like, if you wouldn't have came in here in this next 30 days, even if you would have stopped drinking, you would not have made it to the age of 47 years old. You would have died of alcohol-related disease. He's like, you came in the exact moment needed to reverse everything and save your life. I don't know how you got here at this time. He said, but if you would have waited any longer, you would have died before your age of 47. Again, no coincidence. No coincidence. So they were able to put me on the proper medicines, get my blood pressure down, get my kidneys start to function again, my liver. And I did everything that they suggested, because rarely do we see anybody fail that do everything that we suggest. I went to every group. I journaled. I raised my hand. I asked questions. I participated. I got out of my own damn way.
Yes.
I stopped thinking I knew everything, because frankly, what I knew got me here.
Yes.
I took my ego and I left it at the front door of that treatment center. Because Tim is king of the world and center of all attention, absolutely doesn't know anything. I became the student, not the teacher, because what I was teaching was failure. I did everything they asked. I went to every meeting. I didn't miss one meeting. Not only did I not miss a meeting, I went to extra meetings for veterans and first responders that they specifically held for veterans and first responders. And I met this gentleman that it was like I saw him every day walking around the treatment center. And he had a book, and he walked every day for hours and read this book. And I was curious one day. I said, excuse me. He's like, yes, yes. I was like, I see you every day. You walk miles around this compound because you couldn't leave. It was gated and have cameras, inpatient. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, well, I walk every day. I read the Bible. I'm like, really? I was like, well, does it work? He's like, it works for me. He said, I'm not saying it's going to work for you. He goes, and what I believe in, maybe you don't. He said, so I'm not going to press this on anybody. He said, but I'll tell you what, every morning before we go to group at 9 a.m., at 8:30, I hold a little meeting over by the gazebo. He's like, it's not really religious. I read a prayer for the day, a word for the day, and a daily reflection. It just kind of jumpstarts you to get ready for the first day or first group of meetings. He's like, you're more than welcome to join us. There's about 4 of us that meet over at the gazebo. What else do I have to lose? I'm like, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:30. So I go eat breakfast. 8:30, I walk over to the gazebo, and he's standing there with 3 other people, and he's like, man, thank you for coming. You're the first person that said that they would actually be here and actually showed up. I'm like, okay. So he reads the daily reflection, reads the prayer for the day, and he grabs the word, and he flips through with his thumb and just randomly stops on a page and opens it up. And he says, the word for the day is hope. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me right now. Like, it just kept happening over and over, showing me that I'm right where I needed to be. So 2 weeks goes by. It goes from 5 of us, now there's 10, now there's 15 of us. So we went from the 5 of us, now there's 15 of us that meet every morning at 8:30 and listen to the word. And after he reads the word, the daily reflection, and the prayer, we go to each person. How does this make you feel today?
Yeah.
How can you make this word today and what do you do, something you do today in this activity? How could you practice trust or honesty or accountability? And we go around and we share. Well, it gets to the point where he's leaving. And he's like, I really appreciate everybody coming out. He's like, we went from 5 people, now there's 20. He said, this is so like beautiful. He's like, I want to keep this book here and have this tradition go because I have so many of you come throughout the day and tell me how much this morning meeting means to you. He's like, so I need to pass this book along for somebody to carry this on. And he looks at me and he hands me the book. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you're going to continue this message. I'm like, why? Why are you picking me? He says, I didn't. He said, he did. He said, I'm just a messenger. And he hands me the book. And I'm like, okay, now I got a commitment. Now I've really got to do this. So I had about 10 days left. So for the next 10 days, I go out there in the morning, ready to go. Still got 20. Now 1 or 2 more people are coming. I'm about 25. It comes to Easter morning. And the program that I was at was an old Holiday Inn, a whole horseshoe building, 2 floors, racing ground, pool in the middle, so big spread. I'm on the 2nd floor with a roommate, and I come out on the balcony, and in the courtyard, there's 65 clients standing there. And I come out, and I'm like, oh, maybe breakfast isn't ready, or everybody's out there smoking, just waiting, or whatever. And one of the counselors come up to me, and she's like, you going to do your morning meeting? I'm like, yeah. She's like, they're all waiting for you. I was like, who is? She's like, they all want to hear it. I'm like, what? She's like, it's Easter morning. She's like, they want to hear the message of the day, the word, and the prayer. She's like, but there's too many of you. You can't do it out here. We're going to open the big hall room. We're going to sit everybody down properly. We're going to get in front of everybody and do it properly for Easter. I've never spoken in front of anybody like that. Last thing, I was in a play at 5th grade. I played Snoopy. I didn't have no words. Then I sat on top of the house. I didn't do nothing. I got to speak in front of 65 people, shaking, nervous, but said the daily reflection, the word for the day, and the prayer. When I got done, this old lady stands up. I'm saying old. She was in her 60s, but older lady stands up, and she's like, excuse me, since it's Easter, can I sing a couple songs? We're like, sure, come on up. Thinking she's going to sing these cute little songs. She never told nobody. She was a professional country artist in the 80s and traveled with Willie Nelson and had record deals. And she sang Hallelujah, 3 wooden crosses, and another one I don't remember, but beautiful, absolutely stunning. And then a gentleman raises his hand at the back of the room. He's like, before we finish, can I say something? I'm a pastor. And he comes up and he says a sermon for about 10, 15 minutes. So this little 15, 20 meeting that we usually have every morning went on for an hour and 15 minutes. Wow. They excused first group. They let everybody do it. And then they excused everybody. And as I'm gathering up the paper and the counselors come up to me and the program director, and they want to say, like, we just want to tell you, we've never seen anything like that. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, that has never happened. One lady's, Tim, I've been working here for 20 years. I've never seen anything like that. She's like, people are drawn to you for some reason. When you speak, they listen. She's like, you have a way about you. I suggest when you get out of here, you do some type of speaking or share your message or something, because there's something that people want to hear. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just doing this, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, so, but when I got out, I did everything they suggested. Go to 90 meetings in 90 days, go to home group, get a sponsor, start working the steps of recovery. Now, not everybody works the steps of recovery. Not everybody gets a home groups. Not everybody gets a sponsor. What works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. My recovery may look different than somebody else's recovery, right? The steps, the home group, the sponsor worked for me. I did 98 meetings in 90 days. I got a sponsor. I did a home group. For me, recovery is life and death. There's no plan B. There's no options. Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day would say, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be a movie star. And they would tell him, what's your plan B? He says, there is no plan B, because if you have a plan B, you don't focus 100% on plan A.
Yes, sir.
I had no plan B. If I gave myself an option that maybe one day I could drink, maybe one day I can go do a line of coke or take a pain pill, I'm writing my death sentence. There is no plan B. If I pick up again, it's not if, it's a matter of time before I die.
Yes, sir.
There's no plan B. Recovery is all I have. So I took it seriously, because for me, it's life or death. And about 6 months into my sobriety, I shared at the home group a couple times. And if you do go to meetings, you see eventually, you'll see some new faces come in, but in general, you see the same 30 to 50 people over and over and over again. You already know John. You already know John's story. You know, when he was 10 years old, he put his dad combat boots on and walked around the house and had a sip of beer. Like, you know the stories already, which is good. But I started thinking, well, maybe if I shared my story outside of these walls, how many more people could I help besides these 30 or 40 that I see? So I started watching podcasts about sobriety and mindset, and I was thinking to myself, maybe it might be kind of neat to maybe do a podcast one day. You know, they're big right now. Let me get on a podcast. So I did some sales along my multiple jobs. And I know about the law of numbers. The more people that I knock on doors, the chances are more people are going to say yes. So I had messages like 15 or 20 podcasts. I'm like, well, out of those 20, one's got to say yes. So one did. One came back. And he's like, how many months you got sober? I'm like, I just hit 6 months. I know I'm not really that long term, but he's like, no. I would love to hear how your life has changed in 6 months, not just 10 years, but 6 months, early sobriety. He's like, let's film it in a week. So I'm in Parkville, Maryland. He's in Honolulu, Hawaii, sitting on his deck by the water. And we filmed this podcast, Breaking Chains. And we filmed this podcast, and I just thought to myself, what a neat experience. That was pretty cool. I never did an interview like that before. And it's live, and I get to see him sitting on his deck with the wood. I was like, that was pretty cool. I'm in Parkville, and he's in Hawaii. That was pretty neat. And like a month goes by or something, and he emails me, hey, it's going live. It's on like Spotify or iTunes or something. He's like, check it out. And it's going to be on YouTube. Check it out. So I watched it, and I'm like, that was awkward. really awkward because I was fumbling all over everything. I didn't really know what to say, but I was honest.
Yeah.
And I shared my story. Well, about a week or so goes by, and my friend Brandon asked me to go pick up a kitchen table and drop it off as one of his recovery houses in Delaware because I have a pickup truck. I said, absolutely. For what you did to me, I'll stop what I'm doing and come help you whenever you need at those recovery houses. You need me to help me to remodel something? I don't care. I'll drop what I'm doing. And I went and picked up this kitchen table while I'm sitting in the gentleman's driveway waiting for him to open the garage door so I can load it up. It's 7:45 at night, and the phone rings. And it says, Columbus, Ohio. Again, scam caller, bill collector. Who's calling me at 8 o'clock from Columbus, Ohio? But I pick it up and I say, hello. And the gentleman says, is this Tim? I said, yeah, who's this? He's like, this is Tony. I'm like, man, I'm sorry, man. I don't know no Tonys. He's like, no, don't hang up. This is Prophet. I served with you in 1995 in Somalia. I'm like, what? This is August or September 2021.
Yeah.
How'd you get my number? He's like, oh, you got it public on Facebook page. He's like, I'm like, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm not actually. He said, man, you did a podcast, right? It came out like 4 or 5 days ago. I said, yeah, it aired about 4 or 5 days ago. He's like, I got 4 days sober after 18 years. I'm like, what? He's like, man, I listened to your podcast and, you know, I've been in and out of trouble with the law, 2 divorces, lost jobs, suicide attempts. He said, man, hearing your story has given me some strength, courage, and hope that I could possibly beat this. He's like, and I didn't think it felt right to leave you a Facebook message. I wanted to call you and tell you thank you for giving me some hope that I could get this right. And I was like, oh my God, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, okay, so I love you, brother. You know, nice talking to you, nice hearing from keep in touch. And I hang up and I tear up. I'm sitting in my truck. I'm like, that wasn't a coincidence.
No.
There's no possible way.
No, sir.
That I just happened to want to do a podcast, not knowing if anybody was ever even going to hear it.
Yep.
The confirmation, the confirmation was somebody that I actually served with. I hadn't spoke to since 95, heard it, and I possibly gave him a little bit of hope. And I remember looking up and being like, okay,
I got you.
This is what I got to do. So Wednesday the 5th, March 5th, I will be celebrating 4 years of continuous sobriety and recovery. I have been fortunate enough I have now been on over 131 podcasts to date. 7 sober magazines and mental health magazines. I just finished filming my second Amazon Prime TV show.
Congratulations.
The first one came out the end of August called Repurposed. Season 2, it's about addicts who have repurposed their life into becoming advocates for mental health and addiction. The second show I just filmed was Night of Recovery at Arkview. That was filmed out in Pennsylvania about 5 months ago. I have been given the opportunity to share my story so freely to those who need to hear it. I've been humbled. I have been stripped of my ego. You know, the big house, the bank account, the pretty girl, the cars, the muscles, the things that I thought gave me purpose and like confidence and meaning and value don't mean nothing. When you're a child of God or a child of a higher power and have faith in something else, being a good human being and helping one another is what your legacy and your character is built upon. It's not what in your bank account. It's not what car you drive. Those things are nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to have money and not have to worry about your bills and have a nice ride. It is nice things, right? But when you die, they're not going to say, man, he drove a Ferrari.
Nobody's going to say that.
They're going to say, no, do you know how many people that man helped?
Yes.
You know how many lives that man changed?
Yes.
And because that man changed somebody's life, maybe that person invented something that changed 1 million people's lives.
Correct.
that's the legacy that I want to leave. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
when I do leave here, I know that maybe I helped one person that could possibly had a ripple effect that maybe possibly helped millions and millions and millions of people. It's that one bad apple ruins the bunch.
Yep.
Because
No,
one bad thing
Yep.
ruins, it just spreads like a virus. Well, can't we do the same thing with kindness and helping and positivity?
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Before I kind of wrap up here, and I want to let everyone know out there that it doesn't matter if you're in active addiction. It doesn't matter if you're in recovery. It doesn't matter what car you drive. It doesn't matter what's in your bank account. It doesn't matter how big your house is. There's no discrimination with mental illness and addiction.
Yeah.
It doesn't care what color your skin is. It doesn't care if you're good looking. It doesn't care how long your hair is. It doesn't care what size your nose is. It doesn't give a shit.
Yep.
Its sole purpose is to strip everything you love away from you. Its sole purpose is to take everything away that you love, and then it comes for your life. There's zero discrimination with mental illness and addiction. I will say that life happens on life's terms, regardless of who you are,
Yes,
your
sir.
status in life,
Yes, sir.
what you've accomplished. This past year of my life in recovery has been the hardest year of my entire life. And it has not been under the influence of drugs and alcohol. It is not what happens to us in life that defines us, but how we react to the situations that defines our character.
Yes.
This past year, I found out that all three of my daughters and my sister were molested by my brother. 2 days after that, my cousin, who was like a big brother to me, was found dead at the age of 50 after suffering with mental illness and addiction for 35 plus years. And 3 days after that, I found that my wife of 28 years was having multiple affairs on me all during my sobriety. I drove to the liquor store. I sat in the parking lot and I beat the hell out of the inside of my truck. And I asked God, why are you doing this to me? I've traveled the country. I speak to veterans and first responders about mental health and suicide prevention and addiction. I do these podcasts. I work in a treatment center, boots on the ground in treatment. Why are you doing this to me? I've done everything you've asked me to do. Why? You wouldn't have been strong enough to deal with this in your addiction.
Golly.
I would have made an emotional decision. Not a logical one. I would have went and put a bullet in my brother's head. No doubt about it. What does that change? Nothing.
Nothing. Put you in jail.
But if I did do it, now my mother,
Yeah.
whom I wouldn't have thought about,
Yeah.
now has a dead son and one in prison.
Yep.
My kids now think when something traumatic happens in your life, you turn to violence, drugs, or alcohol.
Yep.
I wouldn't be around to guide them and show them the proper way of dealing with things that happen to you in life, because they're going to happen. Life is going to happen. Life's.
Yes, sir.
It's going to come.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a witch doctor. I can't bring my cousin back. It is what it is. And no matter how painful it kind of is to say, maybe my wife needed some affection. Maybe she needed some attention. Maybe she needed some security. That I couldn't give it to her. And she was seeking something from another human being, because we're human beings and we want affection. We want human contact. We want acknowledgement. We want to be told we're good looking or pretty, or that you're loved and we care about you.
Yep.
Maybe sometime along that 27 years, I probably wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
Guarantee you I wasn't, because that was about me. It doesn't mean my action requires you to react.
Yeah.
Right? She could have simply said, this isn't working. I think we should go our own ways. So just because you slash my tires don't mean I get to shoot you. Right? I can just walk away and just get my tire fixed. Right?
Yeah.
Not saying that the way we react is wrong, but I didn't have to react to what happened to me. Right? So what I did was I called my friend and I said, hey, this happened, boom, 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 in 7 days. And he says, when's the last time you filled your own cup? I said, what do you mean? He says, you do all these podcasts, you do all these speaking events. He's like, when's the last time you did something for you? I was like, 2.5 years ago when I went to rehab. He's like, when's the last time you had your medicines adjusted? I was like, 2.5 years ago when I went to rehab. When's the last time you talked to a psychiatrist? 2.5 years ago when I went to rehab. He goes, how are you going to continue to fill other people's cups when yours are empty? I was like, what do you suggest? He said, go away for 2 weeks. I'm like, but I'm sober. He's like, not for your sobriety, for your mental health. He's like, take time away from the phone, the family, the job, go reboot and get your system right. So he said, either that or lose your sobriety in your life. He said, I do it every year for 2 weeks. I go on a retreat. I leave my phone behind. I reconnect. I reboot. I get my system up and recharged and running again. He said, I do it every year with a group of friends. So I put myself into a place called The Retreat up in Pennsylvania. Show up there 2.5 years sober for my mental health. I relearned some things that I forgot along the way. I learned some new things. What again was not a coincidence was when I got to the place, some people there in treatment recognized me from some of the podcasts I had done over the last 2.5 years. One of them happened to be the program director. She said, you wouldn't happen to have been on such and such podcast a year ago. I was like, yeah. She said, we just played your podcast last weekend to the group. I'm like, really? She's like, do you want to speak in front of the... I'm like, really? She goes, we'll bring everybody here to the cafeteria. This place held like 150 people. Yeah. She said, we'll bring everybody here to the cafeteria. Oh my God. And you can do it live. I'm like, really? So I did. I spoke in front of the entire treatment center. Had workers come up to me and like, I know who you are. I've heard your story, this, that, and the other. And then I realized yet again, I was right where I needed to be.
You have a purpose, man.
I was meant to go to that treatment center. I was meant to meet certain people. I was meant to speak again. So what has helped me stay active in my recovery, my sobriety, and keeps me going, I changed my perspective. If you change your perspective, the world around you changes.
Yes.
It doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. I was always the glass half empty. I never had enough. I want more. Where's the ice cubes? Where's my refill? Give me. I'm just happy if there's something in that cup to wet my lips now at this point. That's all I need. The one thing is I don't need extra.
Yeah.
I have everything that I need to have a purpose in life. You know, I was able to turn my pain into purpose, my mess into a message. And it's humbling. I'm truly grateful to be alive. And if I can help one more person, that's one less we lose to this disease of mental illness and addiction. It's funny because, and I'll wrap it up. People tell me, God left me. Never been around. Remember the old 80s footprints thing? It says in your darkest time, you saw one footprint. Yeah, you left me. No, I was carrying you.
Yep.
I kind of compare that to if you buy a new car, a Camaro. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. And you get to a stop sign, you look around, and there's 3 other Camaros.
Yep.
Where the hell these Camaros come from?
Yep.
They've always been there.
Yep.
You just never noticed them.
Never noticed them.
He's always been with you. You were just blinded. You never saw it. Through your deepest times, you thought he left you. When you ask for patience, you do not get patience. You get put in a position to practice patience. When you ask for courage, you do not get courage. You get put in a dangerous situation to become courageous.
Yes, sir.
My life changed when I stopped praying for myself, the foxhole prayers. Get me out of here. I'll never do this again.
Yeah.
God, I swear if you get me out of here, I swear I'll change my life. I'll never do it. When I stopped praying for myself and started praying for others, my prayers were answered.
Tim, man, this has been deep for us, man. This has been truly touching story, and I appreciate you coming to share.
Absolutely.
It's been one of those things, even on our journey, where a lot of people are dealing with the whole mental health. They're hearing that so much these days, and a lot of people don't have, I won't say appreciation, but some people take it lightly, right? And don't realize the power that your mind has over your body and over your life. And if your mind is not healthy, your life is not going to be healthy.
Computer don't work if the processor's down.
Exactly, man. So, man, we thank you for sharing your story, man. We can sit here all day and talk through this, but one thing that Marlon and I have kind of learned through even this process and even listening to Tim, you can't do this walk alone.
No,
you can't, man. And we believe in God, and our whole lives we've seen Him work in so many different ways, through our mistakes, through our failures, through success, whatever it may be. But one thing we always realize at that base level is that if I'm waking up and I'm waking up without Him in my life means nothing, And one thing I want to do to even just close this thing out is something that we do every single morning with people that we are engaged with that are dealing with this recovery and sobriety and mental health. There's a prayer, and I've heard this prayer all my life, right? I've never prayed it myself many times, right? Because I was like, oh man, I do my own prayer, right? But the repetition in this prayer is like is really grounding for people, because there's elements in there that is giving up, accepting the things that you can't control, letting go of things that you can't, and letting God fill in the rest for you. So in closing out, we're going to close this episode differently, man. We're going to close with serenity prayer, man, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So we started off saying, who woke us up this morning? God.
Grant me serenity to accept the things that cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Guys, we'll see you next time on the Success Journey Show. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.